Lena moved into her new apartment eager for a fresh start. It was a small, quiet place on the edge of the city, perfect for some solitude. The rent was cheap, the landlord pleasant enough, though he had mentioned one odd detail when she signed the lease. "There's an old ventilation shaft in the bedroom. No use for it now, but it's sealed. Just thought I'd let you know." Lena didn't think much of it. She barely noticed the grate at the far end of her bedroom, tucked into the corner and covered in dust. That first night, she slept soundly, feeling at peace in her new home. But by the third night, things began to change. It started with a soft, almost imperceptible noise, a faint scratching sound, like nails dragging against the walls. She convinced herself it was just the building settling, or maybe rats in the walls, though the thought made her uneasy. She pushed it from her mind. The next night, the scratching returned, louder this time, and coming from the direction of the old ventilation grate. Lena sat up in bed, heart pounding, staring at it. She got out of bed, walked over, and crouched down to get a better look. It was sealed tight. No way anything could get through. She pressed her ear to it. A whisper. "Lena." Her blood ran cold. She stumbled back, heart racing, convincing herself it was just a draft or a trick of her mind. But the whispers grew louder, more insistent every night. She could hear them murmuring her name, sometimes giggling, sometimes sobbing. One night, as the clock struck 2 a.m., Lena couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed a screwdriver from the kitchen, marched to the grate, and began unscrewing it, determined to prove to herself there was nothing inside. As the last screw fell loose, the grate dropped to the floor with a clang. She peered into the darkness of the shaft, her breath shallow, half expecting to see something lurking inside. Nothing. She exhaled in relief, but just as she was about to turn away, a gust of cold air blew from the vent, and with it, something else. A voice, clear this time, unmistakable. "Don't turn around." Lena froze, her skin prickling with fear. The air behind her grew colder, and she could feel it, a presence, standing right behind her, watching. She didn't dare move, her pulse pounding in her ears. Then, slowly, she felt a hand brush her shoulder. She screamed and spun around, but there was nothing. The room was empty. Shaking, she turned back to the vent. A face, gaunt, hollow-eyed, was staring out at her from the dark, its lips twisted into a hideous smile. Before she could move, the face whispered again, "I've been watching you, and now I'm coming out." Lena stumbled back, her body frozen with terror, as something began crawling out of the vent, inching closer, smiling wider. The last thing she heard was its voice, sickly sweet, saying, "You should have left the grate alone."